Hello folks, today we're going to be creating a fully data-aware to-do list using Lazarus on Lubuntu Linux. This is running on a 2014 Mac Mini with 8 gigabytes of RAM, so a complete potato by today's standards, but hopefully it'll show what we can do with older hardware still. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we want to do, of course, is to create a new project. So we'll just select application here, and then we'll save our project as something. Let's create a new folder. We'll call this to do one. Okay. Just leave everything at default here. Let's resize our main form a little bit. Give it a quick run. When you first run, it'll ask you to select the debug level of information. Nice. So there's our form. Okay. Let's just set the caption of that to my to-do. What I like to do is set the position to screen center so that it always opens in the center of the current screen. Nice. Okay, let's add some layout to our form. So for that we're going to need some panels. We'll add that panel there for the toolbar. We'll set its alignment to top, and let's just clear out the caption because I'm going to be copying and pasting this. Then we'll copy that, we'll paste it, we'll set its alignment to left. Let's just fix the width here so that we can see what's going on. To about 150. We'll paste it another one. Let's just set the alignment to none very quickly, just so that I can move that down there. What we want to do is we want to add a splitter over there, and then we'll set the alignment of that panel to all client. There we go. We should have a nicely laid out form that resizes correctly with a nice smooth splitter. Next we're going to add some DB controls. So we want a DB grid on the left. We'll pop that in there. Set that alignment to all client. Then we want a DB edit. We'll pop a DB edit in there. Let's just set it around there. Let's add a DB checkbox. Line that up nicely. Set our caption to completed. And resize it a little bit just so we can see it. And then we want a DB memo. There. Stretch it out a bit, and we'll set the anchors so that it resizes nice and automatically. Okay, let's just add some labels here so that we know what's going on. We'll add that label there, and that label there. We change their captions to name. last control that we need is a DB navigator. That'll allow us to control our data set. We'll be adding the data set in just a second. Save our project, give it a quick run just to make sure everything's okay. Nice, looks good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is add a SQLite data set. I'm just going to pop that on there. We'll set his file name to /todo.db. Okay. We'll set the table name to todo. And then we're going to define some fields. So we give that a double click. We'll add todo.id, because every good table needs a good index. We'll add another one. This will be todo_name. That'll just be a string. Then we'll add todo_done, which will be a boolean. And finally we'll add todo_detail, which will be a memo. Looking good. Create our table. Table created successfully. Now we've just got to set a couple of settings on our data set. So we want auto increment key. Yes, please. We want in the options. We want no, not in the options. We want save on close and save on fetch. We want to set the primary key to our todo_id. Looking good, and then we should be able to set that to active. Okay. Now, in order to access our data, we need a data source. That's going to glue all of our controls into our data set. So let's just search for data source. Okay, and we set our data set in data source, and we set our data source in the grid. You can see that it's already populated the fields that we just created. We set our data source in DB edit, and we set the field to name. Same for completed. Data source is data source 1. Data field is done. And finally, our DB memo. Let's not forget the navigator. The navigator also needs to be set to the data source, and that should be that. Let's give it a run, see what happens. Looking good. Okay. Let's add a record. Task 1. Detail 1. Save that. Add another one. Task 2. Details 2. Save that. And in theory, if we close, again, there's all our data. Simple as that. So there we go, we've created a fully data aware to-do list in Lazarus without writing a single line of code. As a bonus, we can tidy up our grid here a little bit. So what we want to do here is go have a look at the columns property. By default it adds in all columns, but the moment you actually add in one, it'll remove all of the columns that it added in by default, and it'll only display yours. So all I want to display in this is the to-do name. Let's change the title of that to something more palatable. And then we'll add in the to-do done field as well. And we'll change the title of that to complete. And then what we kind of need to do as well is just set the widths so that we can see all the fields. Change the width of our panel as well. Let's make that 250. Okay. Give that a little test run. Task 1, task 2. Change that to completed. You can see the data link controls are changing as I change this. And there we go. There we've created our application. I hope this was helpful to somebody, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.